Okay, so here is me. This is Tim, and I'm trying a new segment here on my Rap Facts channel that I don't update at all. But I've been wanting to do some classic reviews because I have all my old tapes, a lot of my old tapes, and I just thought, that's what this channel's about, hip hop, and that'd be fun to just look at and review some tapes that I really loved when I was growing up. If you hear any background noise, it's because my balcony door is open and there's like a lid near the train and my cat's running around. But here we have one of the first tapes that really blew my mind. The first band that I ever went mental for, Public Enemy. This is It Takes a Nations and Millions to Hold Us Back. This is their second album, and it came out in 1988. And let's see, you can see right here. If I can focus on that. Yeah, right there, 1988, Def Jam. So, and I don't know. I mean, I'm sure lots of people have seen tapes, but it's crazy how these just don't really exist to a lot of people anymore. Like even people I work with who are like in their 20s are like, I show them a picture of a cassette tape and they're like, "What's that?" Like they literally don't know, never seen it before. So it's crazy because I had so many of these and I just loved buying new tapes. But this is, you know, Public Enemy, and arguably their best album. I'd say it's their best, even though I really love Fear of a Black Planet as well. But here is the cassette tape itself. It's the black kind. I always thought the see-through ones were way cooler. I can't remember the first time I saw that, but I just remember thinking, "Wow, I just love how that looks." But it's a little faded. Like these black tapes always get faded around there, because this tape's seen a lot of use. The cassette itself is pretty dirty. Like, we'll take out the insert because this is the best part of the whole tape, just having an insert. But Public Enemy always would have nice, big, long inserts, as you can see. That's all the lyrics, which is another thing I love. Not everyone did it. Some groups would do it. Like, I think PE did it all the time on all or most of their albums. Some groups wouldn't do it, but PE, this is kind of like a standard inside of a cassette. It had the front, of course, but then have at least one group picture of the artist, whoever it is, one or a couple pictures, or maybe a collage of pictures, and then have all the thank yous. Like this, it's crazy how small this text is to me now. I can still kind of read it, but I mean, here you go, the very first song, "Bring the Noise." See that? Bring that right up there. Bass. How low can you go? Death row. What a run. It's awesome though, just being able to read these lyrics, because Chuck D is such an amazing lyricist, and he really like opened up my mind to like what people could rap about in hip hop. He was so politically charged, and this album was just so dramatically different from their first album, which I have here as well. But I'm not going to review it because this album is pretty much almost trash compared to this. No offense, but this album, there's just no comparison. This album eclipses it in so many ways. It's insane. Not a bad album, but nowhere near as good as this. It Takes a Nation to Millions. So yeah, the insert, I just love this idea of inserts. And when I'd first buy a tape, I would just sit there and play and listen to it and then read through all these things. If they were short ones, then it would kind of suck because then I had nothing to look at. I would just, sit there and just listen to it. But, having all the lyrics was just the best thing ever. And Bring the Noise was a great opener. A great opening track. It was very aggressive, and of course they did a new version of it on their fourth album, which I have over here as well. I have a lot of their albums here. I have their first six albums on tape. They were my favorite group for a long, long time until Wu-Tang became my favorite group. But PE were my first favorite group ever. My first favorite group ever was Public Enemy. and they're still around actually, which is pretty cool. I don't know if they're really still making albums, but Bring the Noise, just the perfect opening track, because it was just like showing you right from the get-go that this is a drastically different album than the Yo Bum Rush the Show, which they only released like a year earlier. But within the year, they had changed so much as a group. Like there was hardly anything political or, you know, aggressive about their first album. Yo Bum Rush the Show was a pretty much generic hip hop album. It was kind of like, we don't know what we are yet, so we're just gonna rap about what everybody else raps about, like, you know, driving a car or fucking robbing somebody or doing whatever. Actually, I don't know if they had any songs about robbing, because it's Public Enemy, they wouldn't do that. Songs about drugs, stuff like that, but this album was just way more like in your face, like, okay, this is Public Enemy, this is who we actually are. The first album was like a test, this is who we actually are. And then their second track, Don't Believe the Hype, just a great like message song about the media and whatnot. I mean, I could go through this whole album. Cold Lampin' with Flavors, that, of course, is the at least every album has at least one flavor song. And this was the first full Public Enemy album I ever heard. Also, I should mention that, like even though this was their second album, it was the first one I heard. Then I went out and I went out and bought Fear of a Black Planet right here, which I have, one of my all-time favorites. I went out and bought this because it was already out by this time, because I heard them in like 90 and this came out in 90, so I bought this after hearing this, and it was like, that was amazing. So I was like listening to both these albums, and it was just like crazy. They're just so good, and I just was blown away by how good this group was. Cold Lampin' with Flavor, then Terminator and Edge of Panic. That's kind of just like this is the DJ song. You gotta have at least one song kind of like that. I mean, it does have some songs that are like, and Louder Than a Bomb. I mean, that's kind of like it's a good song, but it's almost just kind of like no different than a bunch of their other songs. Like Louder Than a Bomb and Caught Can I Get a Witness. Those songs are both kind of like similar in their tone and whatnot and what they're talking about. But then she watched Channel Zero, is like kind of like that, you know, watching too much TV will make you stupid thing. And then of course, probably my favorite track and one of my favorite PE tracks ever, Night at Living Bassheads. It has such a hilarious, amazing video as well. I love the music video for this. We used to have like actual VHSs of. I had 2 Public Enemy VHS. I had one, my brother had one, and the video for this was on it. And yeah, this one's here just about drugs, obviously. Big about drugs. It's about Black Steel in the Hour of Chaos, this Odyssey-like track of Chuck D breaking out of jail. You know, it almost sounds like it actually happened. The way he raps about it, it kind of just feels like it's really happened, and he's just telling it how it happened. I don't know. But I don't know, I never looked it up if Chuck was ever actually in jail or not. Rebel Without a Pause. It's just kind of like another similar kind of Get a Witness Other Than a Bomb track, kind of like, I mean, some of these songs are just great, but a lot of them kind of say the same thing in every song. In some songs, it's clear what they're trying to say. Like over here, Bassheads is clearly about drugs, but Rebel Without a Pause and Prophets of Rage are almost kind of the same thing. Then, of course, I have the very last song, Party for Your Right to Fight, which is, you know, a very bizarre song, obviously, because their fellow Def Jam mates, Beastie Boys, had a track called Gotta Fight for Your Right to Party. So it's just weird that they had these songs with almost the exact same title, but very different songs in terms of tone and style. Like Beastie Boys is just kind of like being a bunch of drunk kids being like, yeah, we want to party and get drunk and there's nothing you can do about it. And this one's more about like just picking up for yourself and, you know, power equality, we're out to get it, and you knew some of you ain't with it. It's basically those first 3 lines right there tell you the whole song. We just want equality and we want to fight for it, but we're going to party at the same time and have a good time about it. You know, the Beastie Boys version was just kind of like, we just want to party and get fucked up because we're kids. So, you know, every song had a message. I mean, compare this to the first album. It's just crazy how different it is. And this is one of my all-time favorite albums, just period. And I don't know. I thought it'd be fun series, and I'm gonna do again with other tapes, just to like take them out, look at them, unfurl them. You can see how old and dirty it is. There's little like dirt on there. Like I probably had grease on my hands when I held this a million years ago. Even a name on it. My brother took his name, and then I scratched it out and put my name there. So, you know, this isn't something I'd want to sell because it's so dirty and beat up, and I even, like, underlined certain people that they thank. I would read through this entire list, too. This entire list of tiny little names you can't even see, I would read through all of them and be like, who's that? I know them. Some of them I don't know. But I would circle the ones that I recognized. It's crazy. Like, down here, they got NWA, Eazy-E, Dr. Dre. He did it separately too. He thanked NWA, then Eazy, and then Dre. And this was 1988. So yeah, they're still together. They were still a group by then. So I mean, they basically just thank every single other rap group that's out right now. That's generally what a lot of tapes would do. There's my cat watching in the background, but it's time to wrap this up. I don't want to be longer than 10, and I already am. But this is the Public Enemy. It takes the nations of millions to hold us back. Classic review of a classic album. One of the first tapes that I ever heard that really made me say to myself, I absolutely love this kind of music, rap music, and I'm going to keep listening to it. And it's 30 years later, I'm still listening to it. So a lot of it is due to this tape, on the strength of this tape alone. Anyways, I got to go. Peace out. Peace and love. Listen to hip hop. It's the best music ever.